This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
Good evening, everybody, to all my listeners in Mumbai and India, and good morning to everybody in the United States. Welcome to Storytellers Cafe, which is a 30-minute segment every Sunday evening, 9 p.m. Indian Standard Time and 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. How are you doing, my friends? Hope you are staying safe, protected, maintaining social distancing. Sit back for the next 30 minutes, forget about the pandemic, the problems, and listen to stories. We have something special. It's special for Gandhi Jayanthi. We have a wonderful guest in our Zoom studios today. And let me introduce my guest for tonight. It is Shobha Viswanath. Welcome to Storytellers Cafe, Shobha. Shobha Viswanath is the co-founder and publishing director of Karadi Tales. Karadi Tales is a company based in Chennai, and Shobha has been responsible for steering the direction of the publishing house. An author herself, she has written over 25 books for children. Her efforts are focused towards reclaiming a place for Indian literature for children in the picture book format. If you're familiar with Karadi Tales, all their books are picture books, and also you have an audio version of the stories. My children have grown up on Karadi Tales. So it's a wonderful thing to have you in our studios. Welcome, Shobha. And I know you have something special for our listeners on the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti. A beautiful story, a story that befits the Joy of Giving week. Welcome, Shobha.
Thank you, Usha, for those kind words. Namaskaram, everyone. I'm delighted to be here at Storytelling Cafe on Bharat FM. Thank you all for listening in and joining in. So, the story that I have chosen for us today is a story that we have published at Karadi Tales. It is called The Monkey King, and it is a story that has been taken from the Jataka Tales. As many of you may know, the Jataka Tales is a volume or a compendium of stories that talk about the events or happenings of the Buddha's previous lives when he was referred to as the Bodhisattva. So this story, which we published, has been illustrated fabulously by an artist called Uma Krishnaswamy. And we also published it as an audiobook. And it was narrated by the late Mr. Sai Jaffrey, whom, as you know, is a superb theatre and film actor. The music for it has been given by three brothers in a violin. I will try and show you a little glimpses of all of this as we go along. The songs, there are three songs in the story, but since I can't sing, I'm going to show you the songs from the audiobook, which are small animated clips, which you will see as we go along. And at the end of the session, hopefully if time permits, I would also like to show you a quick glimpse of the book, because you must see the fabulous illustrations that Uma has done. So shall we get started with the story? Okay. So once upon a time, as all good stories begin, once upon a time on the banks of the river Ganga, there grew an old banyan tree. A few meters away from the tree, there stood a beautiful mango tree. Now, in the months of April and May, which, as you all know, is the season of mangoes, the tree would be filled with fruits, and birds and bees would buzz around the tree, and the whole forest would be heady with the scent of the mangoes. Now, on the tree also lived a whole colony of monkeys. And the king of the monkeys, or the leader of the monkeys, was someone called Kapi. Now, Kapi was a good and kind and generous and just ruler. And all the monkeys that lived on this wonderful mango tree were very, very happy to have him as their king. And on a fine day, if you were to go stand under the tree, this is what you would hear. Let's listen to what the monkeys are singing.
We are the monkeys. We like to swing, we like to spring, we like to jump around. We like to prance, we like to dance, we like to romp around. From here to there to everywhere. Oh, monkeys. We are the monkeys. Monkeys, monkeys, monkeys. Full of mischief are we, always up to some tricks. Never quiet for a moment. Curious creatures are we, chattering away, cheerful and gay, dancing and playing merrily we sway. This is the way we like spending our days. Jolly good fellas, a cool bunch we made. Singing, prancing, romping, leaping, friendly, funny, witty, happy monkeys. We are the monkeys. We like to swing, we like to spring, we like to jump around. We like to prance, we like to dance, we like to romp around. From here to there to everywhere. Oh, monkeys. We are the monkeys. Monkeys, 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 monkeys. We are the monkeys.
Now that sounded like a really happy kingdom, did it not? Monkeys prancing and jumping from one branch to the other. But there were strict rules in this monkey kingdom. Kapi would tell his colony of monkeys, hey, listen, please make sure that you do not let a single mango from the tree drop into the river. Really? Why? All the monkeys asked, why do you not want any mango to drop into the river? And Kapi would explain, if the mango drops into the river and we are not able to retrieve it, the current of the river waters will take it along further and further away. And it will reach a place where the fishermen come to fish. And if the mango gets trapped in one of the fishermen's nets and they have a taste of it, that's the end of our home, because the humans will bring their big boats and armies looking for more mangoes, and they might even uproot our tree and take it away. And the monkeys realized the wisdom of what Kapi was saying, and they were very, very, very careful to not let a single mango drop into the river. Now, did I tell you that all the monkeys loved Kapi? And Kapi in turn cared and protected all of them? I did, right? But there was this one little monkey. Well, he was not an evil monkey, but he was a little more than naughty. And he was always getting into trouble, one. Two is he resented, he did not like all the popularity that Kapi was getting. He wanted some for himself. So he was always trying to tell people bad things, tell the other monkeys bad things about Kapi so that they would turn against him. But unfortunately, nobody did. So one day, there was a mango that fell into the river. Now, none of the other monkeys saw this mango falling except for Korang. Now, Korang saw it fall. Plonk, it fell into the river. Now, what was the rule? The rule was, first you don't let a mango fall into the river, or if you see one in the river, you quickly jump and you retrieve it. But Kurang did no such thing. He saw the mango fall into the river, and he also saw the river waters carry it further down. Now the mango travelled with the currents of the river Ganga, and it reached a place which was the city of Banaras. It was the kingdom of Banaras then. And the fishermen were out early in the morning wanting to catch fish. And as they cast their nets, what got caught in the net, just like Kapi had envisioned? It was the mango. Now you see, the humans had never ever seen a mango before, let alone tasted. But the fishermen found this wonderful, beautiful fruit, golden yellow in color, and so rich and plump. And they said, this is surely a treasure. We must take it to the king because it looks like something that's fit only for a king. So the older fisherman wiped it nicely in a cloth and gathered it, folded it nicely, and took it to the king's castle. Now, when the king saw this fruit, he took it from the old fisherman, and he smelled it. And it was a most unusual and heavenly smell. But you see, kings are not allowed to just eat anything that is presented to them. If you were to go to a king and give him a box of laddus, he's not going to open it and eat them up. Because kings are powerful people, right? And so anything that they eat or taste must first be checked to see that it's not poisonous or that it won't hurt the king. So what did the king do? He called in for the royal taster. Summon the royal taster, he said. And the royal taster was ushered in. And the royal taster took a look at the mango. He had brought a little sharp knife with him. He cut into the mango. And as he cut the mango, the smell of this ripe, plump and juicy mango spread all across the courtroom. And the people didn't know why their mouths were drooling or filled with water, because the mango smelled heavenly. Yeah. So the king was now impatient to taste this. A wise minister in his courtroom told the king. He knew quite a bit of things. He told the king, Your Highness, this is a fruit that's called a mango. And it is known as the king of all fruits. Now the king really had to taste it. He quickly grabbed the mango from the royal taster's hand and bit into it. And when he bit into it, the juice from the mango flowed into the king's mouth. He ate it really quickly with all his sides drooling. And he came up until the seed and he licked it clean. He just loved this mango. And then he had to have more. So what did the king do? He told the fisherman and he summoned all the guards and he said, The river brought the mango to us, so the tree must be somewhere along the banks of the river. Let's take our boats and go in search of this tree. You remember? Isn't that what Kapi had feared? Yeah? So the next morning, all of them got into this big royal boat. Several boats went ahead of them, and the king followed these smaller boats, and it took them 2 days to reach the place where the mango tree stood. And when they approached the mango tree, it was almost sunset. The king could not believe his eyes. Here was this fabulous tree filled with mangoes, and on the ground several more were strewn. He quickly got off the boat. He instructed the fishermen to fill the baskets with all the mangoes that were on the ground. But the sun had almost set by then, you see. So the king told the rest of his soldiers and the fishermen, tomorrow we will climb up the tree and pick all the mangoes. But for now, we will rest because they were tired too, right? 2 days of a journey to find the mango tree. So the king asked the soldiers to pitch his tent and get ready for a good night's sleep. Now, who was on the top of the tree watching all this? Of course, our beloved king, our beloved monkey king, Kapi. Kapi knew that somehow a mango had gotten to the human's hands. And he knew now he had to save his tribe of monkeys and he had to protect his home. So he went to an old monkey whose name was Vayu. Kapi always went to Vayu when he needed advice or when he needed help with sorting matters that he himself couldn't figure out. Vayu woke up and Kapi told, look Vayu, just look beneath the tree, see what's happening. The king has arrived with so many soldiers and tomorrow we are going to be left without a home. Forget about that. I fear that the monkeys might even be shot down. How do we save our home and how do we save our tribe of monkeys? Vayu thought about it for some time and he said, Kapi, there's only one thing we can do. We will have to abandon our home. We will have to quickly gather all the monkeys and reach another tree or find ourselves another home. Now, what is it and where can we go? As Kapi was thinking about this, and Vayu too, Vayu looked across and saw the big banyan tree. You remember I told you that next to the mango tree was also an old banyan tree? Now, the banyan tree was much older than the mango tree and it had these long vines that reached up to the floor of the forest. Then Vayu had an idea. He told Kapi, Kapi, this is what you will do. You will jump across to the banyan tree. You take one of these long vines and you tie it around your waist, real tight. And then you leap from the banyan tree, all the way across to the rosapple tree, which is on the other side of the river. When you reach the rosapple tree, tie this vine on one of the branches of the rosapple tree. Then the vine will become a bridge from the banyan tree to the rosapple tree. And all the monkeys can walk across and reach the safety of the rosapple tree. Kapi looked at it and he was wondering whether he could make such a far leap and jump. But he was a king. He was no ordinary king also. So he told Vayu, okay Vayu, I'm just going to the banyan tree and I will jump across to the rosapple tree and tie the vine. In the meantime, you get all the monkeys ready. Ask them to be absolutely and utterly still while the king and his men are sleeping. Let's get them across the river to the rosapple tree. Vayu said, I'll take care of it. Now you just go ahead. Kapi quickly leaped to the banyan tree, tied one of the longest and strongest vines that he saw around his waist, and with a prayer to the wind god, made a huge leap across the river to the rose apple tree. As he reached for the branches of the rose apple tree, he caught the branch, but he felt a tug. You see, the vine had fallen short, and he could not make himself reach the tree. So he was holding on to the branch of the rose apple tree, and the vine was behind him. It was a little short, he could not tie it around the rose apple tree. But he said, never mind. So he caught the rose apple tree and he bridged the distance between the vine that was tied around his waist and the rose apple tree. And then he told Vayu, send them across. Now Vayu had woken up these monkeys. But the monkeys, despite all the warnings that Vayu gave, were not able to be quiet. They started screaming and chattering and making so much sound that the king woke up. He looked up and he saw this tree full of wild monkeys, and he was terrified. He thought that the monkeys were going to attack him and his soldiers. So immediately he instructed his soldiers, the tree is full of monkeys, shoot them down. The soldiers all got ready with their bows and arrows, and they started firing arrows at the monkeys on the tree. But the monkeys were quickly trying to cross the vine to get to the rose apple tree. Now the first in line to cross that vine was Lakshmi, a young mother monkey, and she had her baby on the back. And she crossed the vine quickly, but when she came to the place where Kapi was lying down, she just stopped. And she said, but how can I step on my king and cross to go to the tree? This is impossible. I cannot step on my king. But Kapi said, Lakshmi, hurry up, because if you don't step on my back and reach the tree, all the other monkeys will be in danger. Please do not think so much. Just step on my back and reach the tree. And Lakshmi stepped gently on Kapi's back and reached the safety of the tree. Behind her, the other monkeys followed, everyone saying a little sorry and a prayer for stepping on their king's back, and they reached the tree. Now it was the time for Kuranga. But in the meantime, remember I told you that the king's soldiers were firing arrows, right? But the king saw what Kapi was doing. He was stretched across the vine and holding on to the branch of the apple tree. And all his monkeys were following, stepping on his back and reaching the safety of the tree. And when he saw this, he just knew, the king of Banaras knew, that this was no ordinary monkey. And he commanded his soldiers to stop shooting. All the soldiers and the fishermen gathered around the king and also watched this incredible sight. Now, whose turn was it to cross the bridge, cross the vine? It was our friend Korang's. Korang saw Kapi lying across, acting as a bridge, and he said, this is my chance. This is my chance to get what I want, and I will have it. And this horrible thought got into his head without thinking. When he came near Kapi, instead of stepping lightly on his back, he jumped really hard. And Kapi lost his grip on the branch and he fell. He screamed, the poor monkey with his back hurt, and the vine just fell from a big height into the river. Now the king, who was watching this, quickly asked his soldiers to pull Kapi out of the water. He pulled Kapi out of the water and draped him with his own shawl and dried him. And he said, "My God, who are you?" he said. "Who are you? You're no ordinary monkey." Vayu was still on top of the mango tree. He climbed down the tree and he told the king of Banaras, "This is our king. This is Kapi. And he is the most noble of all rulers that we know. And I hope he is not hurt too bad." I have a song for you here.
O monkey friend, O valiant one, forgive me for what I have done. Who are you? What is your name? I hang my head in deepest shame.
Beloved king, he is our lord and chief. For many years he's ruled us well, under his guidance we dwell. He is Kapi, our beloved king, he is our lord and chief. For many years he's ruled us well, under his guidance we dwell. He is brave, just and kind, a king like him you can never find. A teacher, a guide, a friend there, a noble ruler beyond compare.
A fine example you have set to kings and rulers everywhere. In praise of you we all sing, I bow to you, O King of Kings.
The king was touched by Kapi's bravery. What a fine example this monkey was to the human race. How noble, what a lesson the king had learnt. For 2 days, the king and his men nursed Kapi back to good health. Realizing that they were not in any danger, all the monkeys who had reached the apple tree returned to the mango tree. Now, what about Korang? What do you think? What do you think? Now, Korang was filled with remorse and shame and guilt, and all the other monkeys wanted him banished. But our Kapi, our monkey king, was a kind and compassionate king, yes? He welcomed Korang back to his fold because he knew that Kuranga would not do such a thing ever again. And as for the king, he left the mango tree alone, did not take any of the mangoes that he had gathered back with him, and he and his soldiers climbed back onto the boat and left back for the kingdom of Banaras, empty-handed. But do you think they went empty-handed? What do you think? They had learned a really wonderful lesson by making this trip to the mango tree. I hope you enjoyed that story. Now I want to show you how the book looks. Thank you all for joining me today. Thank you, Usha, and thank you, Bharat FM. Namaskaram.
Thank you for that wonderful story, Shobha. I'm sure it's touched every listener's heart. Please do write in your comments in the comment section and share with us your feelings and whatever that you need to. Please don't hesitate, don't shy from sharing your thoughts and comments on the page of Bharat FM. Thank you, Shobha. It's been wonderful to host you for this session of Storytellers Cafe. Good night, everybody. Stay safe and stay well.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.